Welcome in the post-Super Bowl edition of Chicken Dinner. Joe O, Sammy P with you, and we see some of the people already reaching out before we even started recording here on Monday morning, Sammy. We had a very good Super Bowl Sunday, and it sounds like a lot of people did.
I still am upset about Mac Hollins, though. He had no catches in the third quarter. He had none. That was the only bet that I didn't win that I gave out on the show. Mac Hollins under 2.5 catches. He had one, and then he caught two on one drive, including the Patriots' first touchdown of the game. I was getting a bunch of texts from people. Has a team ever not scored in a Super Bowl? Has a team ever not scored a touchdown? And then, of course, it's Mac Hollins who kills us with a second and third catch on the same drive. But everything else, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty damn good. All right, we're going to go over all our bets, how we did on Super Bowl Sunday, some of the stuff that we found intriguing that hit, did not hit, some of the most popular wagers out there. We'll go over all that, our takeaways from this football season as well. And we'll take a quick look next year because the odds are already out. Very interesting. Some teams that a lot of people have very high in their minds, but let's say they didn't participate in the playoffs, like where they're spotting, where they're putting New England. How about Seattle? Very, very interesting. Those early Super Bowl numbers are out. So we'll go over all of that. We'll talk about a little drama on social media involving the Chicken Dinner account. Maybe a little explaining to do on that, possibly. What else? Oh, college hoops on Saturday was phenomenal. I know it's Super Bowl and we're coming off of that, so that's going to dominate most of the conversation. But if you were just interested in the big games, it was phenomenal. So you're mad about Hollins, but every show we did, you're like, first quarter under. It's 7.5. I got it at 8.5, and I was like, hey, doesn't really matter. I ended up tailing you on that one. Your long field goal under 49.5. You hit that. And then you hit May. Not everybody hit May. This was so fascinating. I didn't bet this in any way, but I was paying close attention because the May number was moving throughout the 2 weeks and a little dicey for you.
Landed on 37. I had under 37.5. Some people had under 38.5. Now, if you had under 36.5, you did get hooked. And I'm glad you brought up the variety of numbers in that handicap because one of the guys at the house yesterday made a bet on Drake May 40-plus rushing yards. And on that first run, I think May had 11 or 12 yards early in the game. And he goes, oh, it's a lock.
Good.
And I'm like, okay, we'll see. And then at the end of the game, May had that other long run. I think it was, 17 yards or whatever. And he's like, that's the one. And then my one buddy had the live stats up. And I'm like, how many? And he goes, 37. And I'm like, oh, no more. Cannot have any more rushes. And then he took off and picked up, did he pick up 3 or 4? But then there was a holding penalty very late in the game. So that was certainly hairy. But if you got the right number, you were a winner under 37.5, under 38.5. But most importantly, if you bet over early, 28.5, 29.5, 30.5, you were a winner on that as well. Somebody tweeted at Chicken Dinner, he had over 28.5 and under 37.5. He middled it.
Ooh, man, what a great move there. Did you notice the worst beat, though, was on the other side, the other quarterback rushing?
Oh, no, I didn't even follow it.
Yeah. So late in the game, one of the last drives, they're killing time, and Seattle was just running. By the way, I'm sweating my ass off on that. I was not happy with Seattle. I'm like, why aren't we at least going for the first down? We're just going to run it for a yard and then dive. Well, Sam Darnold takes a dive, but he goes backwards to try to use up 1 second when they're leading by multiple scores. And it was a 6-yard loss. That put him under. That ended up going under. I know Horvey was on that one. I didn't play that. I didn't have either quarterback on rushing. But how about that? So side total, we didn't have much. We were talking about props throughout the last couple of weeks. But I did like the under. Oh, it felt great after the first quarter. You hit yours. It's 3-0. Halftime, Patriots still haven't scored. Through 3 quarters, Patriots still haven't scored. I'm like, oh, this under. Kick your feet up. 45 in the hook. We're fine. I'm sweating it up until the last moments of the game. That was ridiculous. Patriots do nothing. We didn't get a touchdown until the fourth quarter, and then I end up sweating my total. The under does hit, but if we got another touchdown there at the end, I was going to be a loser.
Yeah, and then you had the touchdown by Walker that got called back. And I had even tweeted, that's a big penalty for some. I mean, think about the money that swung on that play. Because Vegas, most books needed the under. The public loves to bet overs, especially in the Super Bowl. So that game is over if that play stands, but they bring it back and then it stays under. I mean, if that play counts, we're talking about a 6-figure swing, if not more, maybe high 6-figure, low 7-figure on the total of the game because of that penalty that negated the touchdown. I did not end up, I swear to God, I did not bet the Patriots. There were 2 bets that I had talked about on our last show that I wanted to make. One of them was the Patriots. Didn't get there. I also didn't get there on Cooper Kupp's over. And I called it. I'm like, you know what's going to happen. He's going to have like 5 or 6 catches. And he had a great game, relatively speaking. His number was, 32.5? He was over that very early in the game. I didn't get there, though. And I was arguing with one of my guys here who was like, JSN's a better route runner. I'm like, no, he's not. He's not a better route runner than Cooper Kupp. And he's like, well, he's better. I'm like, okay, well, that's a different conversation. You know, the Super Bowl conversations, because you got people that watch the game and then people that don't really watch the game. And then you got the experts at the party, you know, like trying to coach the game on the TV while we're all trying to watch the game. But Kupp, man, he was right there at 32.5. And I even said at the very end of the show, I'm like, you know it's going to hit. You know it's going to hit. Did not get there on Kupp. Also did not get there on the Patriots. So I'll call it a wash.
You're right about Super Bowl parties. So I didn't go anywhere. We stayed home. We usually don't even look to go anywhere. We usually just stay home as a family and watch the Super Bowl that way. And I got to tell you, I don't miss it. It's not me being antisocial at all. Well, here it is. And I'm sure it's the same for you, and maybe you had some of this. Knowing what we're into, knowing the name of the show and what we do for a living, as a gambling guy, it's constant. Oh, what was the number on that? What was the number on this? What was the anthem? What were the odds on the Gatorade color? What was the odds on whether they're going to thank somebody? What about showing the quarterback first? What about showing that head coach? What were the odds on that? I'm not working right now. Please leave me alone. Like, I enjoy talking about it. We obviously do. If you listen, you watch, we have a lot of fun doing the show. But that is one part of Super Bowl parties that annoys the hell out of me. Like, how much was your phone buzzing in the hour before the Super Bowl?
I was cooking a ton, so I wasn't really on the phone until the game started.
But I mean, the last minute guys coming in, what should I bet? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure. That happens a ton. I mean, I was getting a lot of that in the morning. Like, people wake up, they brush their teeth, they take a shower, and then they realize, oh, it's Super Bowl Sunday and I don't have a lot of bets. I did get a ton of that. Like, what's the bet? What are the locks today? In terms of like the watching experience, though, I have it down to a science now. Guys are here in my room with all the TVs. Girls are in the back. So that's already established. Like, all the guys are in here gambling and drinking and smoking and doing all that shit. And then I have it set up now. One of my buddies that lived in Vegas years ago taught me if you have 2 TVs, you put the game on both TVs and then you pause the second TV 7 seconds behind so that you're able to watch the game live. And then if it's a nice play, like a catch on the sideline or a fumble or whatever, then you just watch the play again in real time. Only it's, delayed by 7 seconds. So we have it down to a science. And my guys, I mean, my guys. My guys are all gambling too. Like, one guy had a 9-leg parlay. He's like, oh, I almost won. So there's a ton of that going on. And we had the anthem that came out like Friday or Saturday. And I actually tweeted that from my account that I heard the rehearsal was 152. And remember, the first number we saw in the anthem was like 204. So that thing got slammed, and then eventually all the books just started taking it down because it was just an avalanche of money on the under. And then I also got wind of the word brave. This was a bet that you could have made. The over-under on brave was 3.5 seconds. We bet some 3.5, granted, like $72 or whatever the hell, because you can't bet a ton on it.
Right.
It got to 4.5, and then they took that off the board. Do you remember how long he held brave at the end of that song?
Of course, because I was timing it out to see how long the anthem was. It was well over 3.5. There's no doubt about that.
It was like 8 seconds. He held
Yeah.
brave forever. And my one guy was like, let's go. Like the game hasn't even started yet. And people are in a good mood. And then you roll that into the first quarter under. And then it turned out by Saturday, if you followed the Gatorade markets, it was very obvious what was going on. It was obvious to me that Seattle had yellow and New England had blue, because that's how it was bet. And that's what the market was leading up into the game. And I think yellow, lemon, lime, green, they combine them all together. It closed like plus 135, plus 140, and then blue was plus 250. So it's like, oh, okay, well, Seattle's favored. Seattle's plus 130 on yellow, and then the Patriots have blue. And what do you know? Seattle poured yellow.
And it was stupid what they did on TV. That was annoying. They know the Gatorade is one of the most bet things. And then before the Gatorade bath, before the game's over, they show the Gatorade on the Seattle side lit off, and they're stirring it. And they show it's yellow. Like, come on. That's one of the best parts of the Super Bowl. Right after it happens, you get the Gatorade bath. What color was it? Did anybody see the color? And then they decided to ruin that on NBC going to that shot. I hated that. That was annoying. Anyways.
Yeah, by that point, you know, everybody's already excited. The game's over. People are checking their tickets and their bets and all that. Twitter was awesome. Twitter is undefeated for live sports. So many great tweets. Our guy was putting 10 minutes to kick. One of our guys was putting out his favorite muffin recipe leading up into the game. And I was like, okay, that's weird. Right? Did you see that tweet?
No. Who? I did not see the muffin recipe. 10 minutes before the game, that wasn't on Twitter.
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes kickoffs. Like, hey, if you're looking to cut calories going into the Super Bowl, make my banana muffins. I'm like,
oh, I have a guess who it is now.
You know exactly who it is. So yeah, that was a thing. But Twitter was on fire. And yeah, it was a good day. How did your bets do overall? I think you won most of yours, right?
Yeah, did very well. So let's go over them. Henderson over 17.5. That hits. Now, I did see some people that were upset about it. Got a bad number. Like, look at what we're talking about when you get bad numbers. The May came into play with the number. Henderson came into play with the number. I got it at 17.5. It opened 16.5. There were some that bet at 19.5. Stat correction, 19 yards. So if you waited until the last minute or you didn't search for the best number, that was a loser. That was a winner for me. Hunter Henry did not hit that. He ends up with 31. Austin Hooper did hit. He goes over 7.5 with a garbage time catch up the sideline. Stevenson under 11.5 on longest rush. That hits. He only had 6 for the longest rush. I mentioned the under 45.5 hit. The Diggs longest reception, that lost at the very end. That long play near the goal line. He had he had like 30 some yards in the game. Like, I'll bet the under 17.5 on the long reception every time if I know he's getting 30 something, but he had a 20 some yarder there at the end. And then some additions. I talked about how much I liked Corby's breakdown, and we tweeted out at chickenxdinner the video. He was spot on. I mean, that thing almost hit at halftime. Field goal yardage, he gave it over in the 120s. I saw it close at 133.5. Cruised with all the field goals in that game. I added that one, and at halftime, I added Seattle money line pretty heavy because I just didn't see it changing. So it was a 9-0 game at that point, and we know the final score. Seattle money line was about even money, so I had to jump on that.
Wow, interesting. So I'm watching the game out here in Boston, and a lot of the people here are Patriots fans, a lot of Patriots swag, as you can imagine. And a couple of the people are like, oh, don't count this team out. I'm like, Tom Brady ain't walking through that door, bro. Like, what are we talking about? You know, like 28-3. I'm like, stop. And was it pretty clear that May was hurt? Like, that's kind of what I took away. Now, it's not an excuse. I don't think you should hang your hat on that if you're a Patriots fan. But he clearly wasn't right. I mean, that shoulder, that wing was not healthy. I'll say something else too, man. The game sucked. I didn't enjoy the game. I mean, it was not a good game.
Terrible.
And you know, again, like a lot of fired up conversations at my house, naturally. And my one guy's like, this game's great. It's a defensive battle. I'm like, this game fucking sucks.
No, it sucks.
If I didn't have money on it, I wouldn't watch it.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah. The game was garbage. Like, is anybody going to score a touchdown at some point? Defensive battle. Okay. Yeah, they held Seattle to a lot of field goals. But Seattle was moving the ball. Kenneth Walker was doing whatever he wanted, so he earned that MVP. Yeah, I was bored to tears, and I imagine a lot of French football fans are pretty bored in that game. The books weren't bored because they kicked ass.
No.
Because there's a lot of unders. A lot of unders. Yeah, and it's boring.
That's what Murray said.
Yep.
Murray's like, I want to fall asleep in my office. And that's about exactly what you want. I mean, when you're having a conversation where you're watching the game, who you're with, when you're talking about the kicker maybe winning the MVP, that's not a good game.
Stop.
It's not.
Stop with the kicker with the MVP. Yeah, I know.
Well, at the time he had 4 field goals and it was like 12-0 or whatever. Like you have to at least entertain it. Yeah, no, I know, but it wasn't Darnold. It was very clear to me Darnold wasn't the MVP. And then you started to see the live markets lean into Kenneth Walker. And then maybe I thought there was a defensive player. I knew Shaheed wasn't winning. That was one of my losses. Somebody sent me a DM like, good call on Shaheed. I'm like, it was 50-1. Like, what do you want from me?
What?
It's probably not going to win. They did though. I mean, I will give them credit. They tried early. They took a deep shot to him, and then they also gave him the ball in the backfield twice, and he got stuffed. They tried to run one of the like wide receiver sweeps, and the Pats were all over it, and I think he lost like 4 yards on his first carry. I think Shaheed had 2 carries, 5 targets. He only returned 3 balls. I think it was 1 kick and 2 punts. I never thought that was going to win. I thought they tried, though. I mean, Kubiak tried to get him involved early, but the Patriots were ready every time he was on the field.
Yeah, so Walker should have won. There's really no doubt about it. And before the playoffs, he was 50-1. He closes 7-1. First running back since Terrell Davis in the 97 season with the Broncos. First running back to be the Super Bowl MVP. So you figure that's going to change at some point. Some people will hear that and say, oh, well, you can't bet a running back. No. I mean, we didn't talk about Walker because that was supposed to be a tough matchup with the way the Patriots run defense was going. And I was always about a defensive player. Now, throughout much of that game, in my mind, if I had a vote, where would it have gone? I was thinking, okay, it's not going to go to Walker because they're pitching a shutout. They're dominating May and company. They have him frazzled. McDaniels has nothing in response, which we can get to coming up. But the problem is, yes, that game was all about the Seattle defense for me. Like people look at it years from now and see the MVP and it was Walker and see the yardage and say, oh, that was all about Walker. No, you watch that boring ass game. It was all about the defense. The problem was, Sam, there were too many guys. There wasn't a Von Miller situation where you can point to him. He's the star of the defense and he balled out. Nwosu, a pick 6. Love with an interception to end the game. Derek Hall, 2 sacks, a forced fumble. Byron Murphy, 2 sacks, a fumble recovery. 6 sacks together for that defense. Witherspoon was all over the place with the blitzes. Wari ended up having a big game. He only allowed 8 yards receiving on him. It was everybody contributing on that excellent defense for Seattle. So there was no one player where the consensus would come together and say, you know what, Seattle won because of the defense, and it was that one player. No, they had like 10, 11 guys really contributing all game.
You really could have given the MVP to anybody who lined up against Will Campbell. Like that would have been fair too. He got buddy. He was awful yesterday. My buddy Micah played football and he's like, watch 66. And then like there was one play when he false started. They didn't call it. Like, they missed the call. He false started and then just gets blown up. The guy who blows him up then sacks Drake May. And then again, we're watching the game live, and then we have the second TV 7 seconds later, and it's even worse the second time. He had like some false step and then just gets blasted off the line of scrimmage. He did not have a good game. That's the left tackle for the Patriots. And then I heard he he packed up and left without facing the music. He didn't talk to reporters after the game,
Ooh.
which, whatever, I get
Bitch move.
it.
Well, it fouled his
That
play.
was not a good game.
Yeah, I went along
Not
with
a
his
good
play.
game.
He looked like a bitch out there. Did you see how many pressures he gave up in the game?
No, I didn't see the number, but I'm going to guess it's 8 or 9.
Higher.
Oh.
14.
How many?
14.
That was the one thing. I'm like, he is getting dog walked. And it didn't matter who it was. It didn't matter. Like, they were putting multiple guys on that side. It didn't matter who it was.
He gave up the most pressures by any offensive lineman in a game all season in the league.
I believe it.
And he gave up 29 pressures in the playoffs. That's the most we've ever seen in a playoff by one player. Okay. Good luck.
He was awful.
Some of that early in the playoffs, I think people were attributing to him just returning from injury. But like the playoffs started a month ago. I mean, what's going on here? Now there's concerns. You've got to be concerned. Now, his teammates didn't help him. The entire offensive line was dog walked all game too. It wasn't just him. It was coming from everywhere. And they had absolutely no chance. Congrats.
You know who else we should give some credit to? I think we have to talk about, I mean, we had several guests on our Super Bowl show, and everybody was great for the most part, except for maybe George. Andy Molitor,
score.
And George lost every bet he made on the game. Andy Molitor was awesome. Twofold, by the way, because Andy said Drake May over 30.5 attempts. Drake May threw the ball 43 times. And maybe could have thrown it more if he wasn't getting sacked and pressured. He had 6 sacks he took, so potential for maybe 50 throws. Andy was all over that, 30.5 attempts. And also, Andy, back in October on Bet Sweats, said that Seattle's ceiling is going to the Super Bowl. I had to reshare that yesterday with a nice little comment that it's too bad the show got canceled. Stand by that. Is what it is. We talked about Seattle, 30-1 NFC. We didn't bet it. Andy on October 19th, 2025. Andy Molitor on the Seahawks. Their ceiling is going to the Super Bowl. Bingo.
How much did that hurt you? And I know the NFC was won a couple of weeks ago, but I say this knowing that if I'm making a play on a conference, I'm going to also bet the Super Bowl. So that was 60. Like, did it bother you when we see them getting the Lombardi after the game? Like, damn it, we left so much on the table not making that wager.
It hurt for sure.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't really think about it that much because I didn't want to. It got worse and worse too, because at that point, Seattle wasn't even favored to win the NFC West. They were just kind of laying in the weeds, and then they made a couple of moves, and they were sitting right there at 30-1. And I'll never forget that, because you were talking about a team that you liked, and I said, hold on, don't say it yet, and I'm going to write down who it is. And I wrote Seattle, and then you said Seattle, and I showed the Post-it. I don't know that I would have bet Super Bowl, because I just didn't think they were going to win the Super Bowl. I guess we have to stop this whole Sam Darnold can't win the Super Bowl, or Indiana can't win the national championship. Like, that's just prehistoric thinking, I guess, because clearly this is the year of the dog, right? Like, Indiana, Seattle. I'm salty I didn't bet 30, but what are you going to do?
Seattle was 60-1 before the season started. After week 1, remember, that's coming off a loss to San Francisco 17-13. After week 1, they were 80-1.
Oof.
80-1. This is, if we go by the 60-1 preseason number on week 1, the biggest long shot to win the Super Bowl since the 99 Rams were 150-1. Biggest long shot. Like, you start going through like 10, 12. That's usually the range that they're in, and then bam, forever, we're going to see this 60 with Seattle. Congrats to them. You're right. And, if we're looking big picture, it's kind of where we are in the league right now. You look at Philadelphia last year. How'd they win that? They won it mostly because of their defense. We'll talk about Saquon and Hurts, of course, but they won it because of their defense. How'd Seattle won? Well, they didn't even have JSN for a chunk of the game, and he was shut down by Christian Gonzalez, who was awesome last night. Goes overlooked because the Patriots really weren't in that game in the second half, but he had a phenomenal game. So did Milton Williams. But again, we had a Super Bowl that was won with defense. Like, we're going back. It always happens. Things are cyclical in sports. We're going back to where we used to be, where it's more won with the defense. Just don't fuck it up at quarterback.
I also, not to bring this up again, but I'm watching the Patriots just third and long punt, sack, punt. I'm like, God, Buffalo would be in this game. Like, that's all I kept thinking.
God.
I mean, they would have. They didn't turn it over 5 times against Denver. They could have been there. Do you have anything else on the game before we turn the page? I have odds for next year Super Bowl.
Yeah, I want to get to that. I just want to mention that the coach of the year had an awful game. Like, I don't know what he was doing at times. And you need a lot to go your way. In the second half, he wouldn't even go on 4th and 1. Like, he had I don't know if it was a lack of confidence. McDaniels too. McDaniels had an awful playoffs throughout. We talked about how May struggled, and you brought up the injury aspect, and that's certainly something, a week ago, that was the number one story in this game. Like, what's going on with the shoulder? And I don't know that we ever really got an answer. But if you're watching, especially at the end of the game when he's trying to chuck it downfield, like, he doesn't have the arm right now. He can't even throw it 50 yards. So, yeah, that was there. But I didn't think Vrabel had a very good game. He wasn't even using his timeouts at the end of the first half. I'm like, what is this guy? What's going on here? He was like, does he just want this game to end as early as possible? It kind of felt that way at times. So, Patriots coaches, underwhelming. I assume in the Boston area by you're going to hear them get some blame over the next number of months.
Yeah, they should. I agree with you. It's 12-0, 4th and 1. What are you doing? Why aren't you going for it? I get it. Yeah, they'll talk about it, but I think there's also that factor where you think about what the Patriots' expectations were and where they got. I mean,
sure.
I personally don't care at all about the Patriots. I don't. But if I was a Patriots fan and they went to the Super Bowl and lost, I think I'd be okay with that, because you had a second-year quarter, very young offense for the most part. I think there's a lot to like there. And naturally, you and I will be looking to short next year, because that's how it goes. Everybody will bet the Patriots over next year, maybe more than this year. And that'll be a game that, we play throughout the summer. Like, we're going to do Where's the Room? Patriots over, Bears over. Again, probably they're going to be very popular. I did see, since we're kind of empty in the kitchen sink here, Ben Fox had this tweet. There was a guy at BetMGM who made 3 Seahawks futures for $150,000 total. $50,000 on Seattle to make the playoffs. Won $92,000, $92,500. $50,000 on Seattle to win the conference. That won $1.4 million. And $50,000 on Seattle to win the Super Bowl, $3 million. This guy turned 150 large into $4.5 million. How about
Whoa.
that? Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Phenomenal. Wow. What a move. What a move. You want to talk about going all in? Putting all your chips in the center of the table on this one team. I don't know that I would have been able to do it, even though we believed in this team. Like, we didn't say everything on them either, though. That guy did. Or woman, whoever ended up making that bet. Phenomenal job there. Phenomenal. Oh, but one other quick thing, just a 1-minute thing, because it happened since our last show. Whew. Good thing JSN got in. I just think it's notable on this show, as far as the awards, the one thing that stood out, and we can get to George winning but also losing. The big thing that stood out was the market nailed every award. Every award where you had a favorite. And sometimes people say, well, you never know. There's humans voting and you don't really know what's going to happen. The betting market swept it. They got everything right. Every favorite won the award. Vrabel, Stafford, JSN, CMC for the comeback. Of course, Myles Garrett, Ted McMillan, Schlesinger. Like, they got it all. And it didn't seem like it was all that close.
I was very happy for you. I did the hit in Buffalo on Friday, and Mike asked me, "What'd you think about the awards?" And I'm like, "I'm happy for Joe," because I only had one award bet. I had McCaffrey, who actually that was closer than I thought it was going to be. That race, I mean, McCaffrey got a ton of votes, but JSN wholeheartedly deserved to win, and you told people to bet that at 50-1. So that was a great cash by you, and now we got to find one for next year.
Yeah. Got to hit one. Well, you had the OPOY the year before, and then I ended up having it this year. I was thinking of Will Hill. Should have bet more podcast. Should have bet more. Oh, well. Like, you think, okay, well, I'll go back to it. If it's looking all right before the number moves, and then you kind of, things slip through the cracks sometimes, and you got so much going on during the NFL and college football season. All right. Super Bowl odds. 2027 Super Bowl, which is strange to say out loud.
There we are at DraftKings. If you're watching visually, they basically have no idea, right?
Thank you.
We'll make the teams that just won. We'll make them favored, and then we'll throw the Rams in there because people like to bet the Rams. So DraftKings, and again, these books have different prices, which you should always shop around if you're betting futures. Seattle and LA both plus 950 at the Green Book. Bills 11. Nope, ain't happening. Eagles 13, Patriots 13, Ravens 13, Packers 14, Lions 14, Chargers and Chiefs 15, 49ers 17, Broncos 18. I could probably stop there. Texans 20, Jaguars 22, Bengals and Bears 25-1. But Seattle and the Rams are co-favored right now.
We had the same takeaway. My takeaway was, damn, this league's bunched up. Fuck, this is unfair. Like, I'm looking at the blue book, and I see 14 teams that are 20-1 or shorter. 14. What? How do you do that? Because they have no idea. And then the Bears were the 15th team. I know this audience, a decent group of it, curious about where the Bears are. They're the 15th team. 25 over at the Green Book, 27 over at the Blue Book. But I was going through that list as you go. Seattle, Rams, Baltimore, Buffalo, Green Bay. I'm like, no. That's one thing that I did like from these odds, but it's just kind of the state of the league, I guess. Like, we're pre-draft, pre-free agency. Okay, we know a lot of the coaching changes, but there's a lot of teams at the very top with the shortest numbers that I have no interest in betting next year for the Super Bowl. How about you?
I will say, to see Kansas City at 15-1. I don't know what FanDuel has. DraftKings has 15. That's
16.
Eye-opening. Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've been in that range most summers. 550, 6-1. This past summer was a little bit different. Buffalo and Baltimore were at the top, and KC was closer to 750. But to see a Mahomes team at 15-1 is very eye-opening. Of course, he's going to miss a ton of time with the injury, with the knee. But, there's a world where they win 12 games and he comes back. I think it's possible. That stood out. And then also Baltimore. I mean, we're always waiting for this big Lamar Jackson playoff run that hasn't happened yet. When's the last time Baltimore was 13-1? Like, they've been so metrically appealing and so shortly priced. I mean, Baltimore's been 6, 7, 8-1 for years since Lamar won the MVP the first time. So to see them at 13 kind of stands out, but I don't think there's a bet I would, certainly not right now. I have no rush to hold this bet up for 364 days or whatever. But to see Baltimore and Kansas City at double figures, that definitely jumped out to me.
Sure. And I understand. I just put a little asterisk next to two teams, one AFC, one NFC. Also Kansas City. I paused there when I saw that number, but then I'm also like, okay, where are they right now? Is Kelsey done? And like, how many guys are done? What's the health going to be? There's a lot of questions, but get out Matt Nagy, kind of a thing that could be a positive. So there's a lot of things changing over with Kansas City. Is it going to be good or is it going to be bad? I don't know. So I started thinking about teams where injury really rattled them, especially late. And I look at San Francisco at 18-1. Think of everybody that they lost. And you get Shanahan. Maybe they were on the mind because I saw Shanahan in the pregame, who's actually pretty good. And they're sitting there at 18-1. Just imagine if they had half of the injuries that they had. What do? And it was everywhere. All of the big playmakers on offense and defense went down at some point for them. So I did think about them, that there's a lot of value there. So when you count it down, how many teams are ahead of them? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 teams ahead of them. Come on. They're a top 10 team in this league. So I thought that was interesting and almost the same number. What if Bo Nix doesn't get hurt? I don't know. Do they win that game? Maybe. But 20-1 for Denver. They should have a long number than Kansas City. I understand that. People are going to bet on Mahomes no matter what. But that popped out. Like, I don't see the defense regressing a ton in one season. And was there a little luck with Bo Nix? Sure. There were some games where they just didn't ball out, or comeback victories, all that stuff. We have all summer to talk about that. But a 20 for them seemed pretty good. But you have everybody bunched up. Like, there are teams that had excellent years that are going to get long numbers. Like Jacksonville's also 20. Houston's also 20. Because where else are you going to put them? These teams that didn't make it or were out for whatever reason, still with a better quarterback play, you're going to have them above them. So it's tough, man. It's like basically everybody's in the same range. There's like 2 tiers in the top 15 teams.
Yeah, we'll have a team too. I know that we'll have somebody, if not multiple teams to pop as we get closer to the summer. I mean, it's February 9th, so hard to handicap this market at this point. The one thing about San Francisco I don't like is that Salah's gone. I think he's a phenomenal defensive coordinator. There will be some regression there, just schematically and development-wise, because he is so good at bringing along defenders and meshing them together. So that I don't necessarily love. And I also think, I mean, how many times can you go back to the well on San Francisco? The team just always gets hurt. Like, and there was, I don't know if you saw that story that there's something like in the facility, like nearby, there's some weird, there's a reason all these guys keep getting hurt. And it's a lot of issues with the same people and the same ligaments and tendons and all that. So no, I probably won't be on San Francisco. Remember, before the year this year, I was Buffalo, San Fran. And I thought those were 2 pretty good looks. They didn't get there, of course, but I don't envision myself back on San Francisco this coming year.
Or Buffalo.
No, not Buffalo.
We declared that right away. Maybe we should put that on a Post-it. Make sure it's somewhere in each of our offices. A few other things to discuss. How about college basketball? I mean, if you were watching it all on Saturday, highly entertaining. Everybody knows you're an Illini guy. They end up losing that game, but another entertaining game. You want to start there? Illinois, Michigan State. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, sure. Great game. You texted me when the game started. Great broadcast because my guy was on it, of course. Luckily, I didn't have the sound on because I was out watching the game. So, in the bar, you got the music in the bar, not the game itself. It was a really good game, and Sparty deserved to win. It could have went either way. There were some big shots on both ends. I get texts when people tail a bet from this show. I get texts or DMs about it all the time from several people. And we did a college basketball episode in November, maybe early November, maybe late November. I don't remember. Corby's on, and it's just me and Corby talking about college hoops. And Corby gives out Arizona at 16-1. They haven't lost a game yet. I mean, they got 4 NBA guys on the floor. They were a 20-point favorite, and they could have won by 50 on Saturday. Like, I was watching that game. That game was on earlier in the day, and my buddy Mike and I are watching it, and I'm like, they're going to win this game by 40. And you know it in the first half. Like, you could just tell. They closed, I want to say they closed 20.5 or 21, and they won by 40. They are unbelievably good. Now, it's not a hot take. I mean, obviously, they're number 1, and they haven't lost a game yet, but it's going to be very tough to beat them. And Michigan is very good, too. They're good. So in my world, it's like Arizona, Michigan, and then everybody else. I know everybody out. Like, every year we do this. Have you heard these conversations? Oh, it's wide open. Not really. Like, I don't think it's wide open. I think it's one of those. If you gave me that option, like I get Arizona, Michigan, and then everybody else gets the field, I would take the 2. No doubt.
So last year, it probably wasn't that way. I'm trying to think back. Right.
No, there was a lot of Duke, Florida, Houston. Those were the 3.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
but I think more people would be like, I'd take the field.
Yeah. But every year people start paying attention to college basketball because the Super Bowl's over and now everybody's watching college basketball and catching up. And then like somebody will get upset, like Arizona will lose and Michigan will get upset. And then it's like, oh, it's wide open. And then you get to the Final Four and it's 1 seed, 1 seed, 1 seed, 2 seed. And all the wide open people are, like silent. I do have a prediction here. I know we only have a couple minutes left. Here's my prediction. And I gave out St. Louis to make the Final Four at 80-1 on Bear Bets. Here's what's going to happen. St. Louis is going to come in hot and they're going to be trendy. And then Seth Davis on Selection Sunday is going to put
Elite 8.
Telling you, nope. I'm telling you right now, he's going to put St. Louis in the Final Four and they will lose their first game. They will lose in round 1. That's what's going to happen.
I can't wait till we start doing those shows. Oh, it's so much fun.
I'm going to be so pissed. I'm going to be so pissed because I was there first. We got some 80-1 on Final Four. That number's long gone. They are going to be the team on Selection Sunday, and Seth Davis is going to, maybe Elite 8. It's funnier if it's Final Four though, and then they lose in the first game. We
also had North Carolina Duke, phenomenal. I mean, Duke winning the entire way until the final 0.4 seconds because of the 3 by Trimble. That was great, and they had to clear the court, and it spills all over the court. It's just this long delay. Classic Duke, North Carolina. That was a ton of fun as well. All right, anything to clean up social media wise? There's a bit of a spat. Like if you were with us in the last show, and look, the numbers say there were a lot of you that were with us. What anything to come from that? Any more traitors in the business?
There's nothing to clean up. There's just something to clarify. I think.
Okay.
Kelly and Ariel did every possible media show all week and blew off our show, and we're friends with them. But they didn't do our show after they told us they were going to do our show and handpicked a time slot and then blew us off to do another show at that same time in their little matching outfits with their black and their green and their like Dr. Evil and Mini-Me, like parading around Radio Row. Like, and everyone's like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like, no, it's not that big of a deal. But like, these are our friends in real life. Like, why are you not? Oh, no, sorry. We had a commitment. We were going to do the Chicken Dinner show, and then we can do your show tomorrow because we're here again tomorrow. They were there all week. I didn't like it. I mean, I make no bones about it. Like I'll say this. I would never do that to them. I would never commit to their show and then not show up and do somebody else's show, period. And then we saw them on with Costos, and I'm like, oh, great. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that.
I was more bothered after the fact. In the moment, I didn't care, but like that's kind of what I've dealt with in my younger years in the business, being a producer. Like, okay, things are going to happen like this, and you got to move on and forget it. Don't harp on it. Don't get too upset by it. You just move on. And I was fine with it because we had a lot of things to say. We didn't really have time at that point where they were supposed to come on to get our bets in. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It gives us an extra 15 minutes of runway. We do this, we can do that, which we want to do anyways. And then, you started sending me some of the photos and promo this show and on that show. And then when it's like, oh yeah, we're basically going on every show of the network that our good friends were told that they're not good enough to be on. I'm like, that's when it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
We do we've done many favors, right? I'm just saying.
It is what it is at this point. Like, I was much more upset day of because I was having PTSD of when that used to happen with Kelly and Murray. And then Murray joked about it too. He's like, oh yeah, Kelly's like, let's do 5 Pacific. And then at 2 Pacific, Kelly's like, let's just do the show now. And we're all like working, So like that, I got angry in the moment because like I was being taken back to 2019 with Kelly and Murray, like the whole thing. And I, it's just if you want to do the show and you commit to the show, do the show, period. Like that's it. And we can move on. It's all good. I was much more upset last week. On Monday, I don't really care.
I don't know about that. I saw some tweets from over the weekend.
Well, I said what I said, and it's over. Like I'm gonna give you my 2 cents, and now it's fine. And then here's the funny thing. I will see them in March for the tournament, and we're gonna do everything Kelly wants to do. Everything, right?
No. You don't have to.
Well, maybe not.
I wonder if that's really the case. We'll see how you're feeling.
Murray said he's not going to dinner. He's like, I'm not going.
Oh, he said on the show he had no plans on ever going.
So, yep. Thank you for being a part of our Super Bowl special.
Yes, it was fine. We did fine. George only lost 5,000 because of Vrabel winning. Congrats on your winner, not
George
winner.
tweeted at me yesterday. Like somebody said, great call on the first quarter. And George was like, how did his Bills bets go? I'm like, dude, you made 25 coach of the year bets.
Dude, what's going on with it, man?
Every time
I defend him and I support him.
It's getting hard.
Something fucking stupid again and again and again. And then I didn't notice this until yesterday. Like he complains, he yells, "Oh, I hate VSiN because they never have me on, and I can't believe they're using Chernoff. I'm going to track him. He's a loser. This guy's a loser. Everybody else is a loser, right?" And then you have a show that supports you, and then he's attacking you. How about all those Bills futures that he made? And then I saw the other day when he was promoting his appearance on this show, which I did not see until yesterday, swear to God, was, well, it only took him 6 weeks to have me on. Dude, quit fucking bitching about everything. You bitch about people that support you. You bitch about people that give you exposure, that will have you on. The guy's never happy. He's starting to piss me off.
Yeah, it's a very polarizing conversation, of course, because we did put him on the show, and then he like comes at me, which is fine. Like people come at me all the time, but like we put you on our show. Why are you going to call me out for Bills bets? Like irrelevant to the conversation at hand. And somebody was complimenting one of my handicaps, and George just jumped in and made it about him. Right.
Of course.
Right. So that's what he does. And every time he turns the corner, he does what he does with the picture of the woman. It's
was
like,
that deleted?
George?
I think it was. Yeah. Millions of impressions. Like he got, that's really bad look for him. Terrible look.
What are you going to say?
Anyways.
Yep.
So what's going on the rest of the week on the way out?
Well, you're going to Mexico.
I am. Tomorrow morning. I'm out.
Let's go.
Peace. Oh, I can't wait. All inclusive. I'm very, very excited about that. Just got the TSA notification. I was using Clear before, which is always a pain in the ass because my wife and kids, they have TSA. But now over there, leaving in the morning, gone for about a week. So, yeah. Are you doing any shows with Corby or anything? Are you doing anything? Or are you going to take some time off? Because it's well-deserved if you do.
I just have more YouTube studying to do. I got to figure out this next part of the algorithm. I got to find a way to get our merch on YouTube. And I got a couple other things I'm working on. We also have to do, you and I have to text about the new merch with Patrick. We got new merch coming out. We got to finalize that. And then supposedly Corby and I are going to do a show this week on college basketball. So let it rip, baby. We're on to the next.
Awesome. I mean, on my flight there and on the flight back, I already know that I'll be doing some show stuff. So looking forward to that. Doesn't stop. Maybe one less show this week, but we'll be back and rolling next week. Looking forward to it. All right, Sam. Last word. Friday, you're saying Corby, and where can the people find that?
Yeah, that'll just be here on YouTube, and then I guess I will be podcasting that episode as well. So Apple, Spotify, and then on YouTube. Maybe we'll see if I have time to put it up on podcast, but definitely on YouTube. And I just hope you enjoy some time in Mexico. Throw that phone in the ocean, man, and just live. Just live your life.
Yeah. Yep. I'm contacting people like, don't bother me the next week. I'm like, I don't care if Jimmy's not going to be there on Saturday for practice because I'm not going to be there either.
Jimmy Moon.
All right, we'll talk. Check out the show with Sam on Friday. Great football season, was a lot of fun. We did well in certain stuff, but we finished strong with a good Super Bowl. So let's carry it over to college basketball.